Hi, you're joining me with Sister Miriam Heidland. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. It's a good German name. I'm German too, and I think it's great that you're a religious also. And you just gave an amazing talk, talking about your vocation story and some amazing things that have happened to you along the journey. I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that moment that inspired you to join a religious community.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it was something that kind of caught me by surprise. This priest that I'd earlier alluded to in my talk, we were just talking in his office one day, and he was saying, maybe what you're looking for in all these men, he said, maybe you'll find that in Jesus. And I cannot explain that other than, how if you're working on a math problem and you don't get it, and you don't get it, and all of a sudden you just get it. I'm like, oh. Right. Mm-hmm. And for me, it just, I was trying to force something that wasn't working for me. And because what I was looking for was love. And all the brokenness that I was seeking, I was really looking for love, to love and to be loved. That's what I was, but I was doing it in a very disordered way. But at that moment, I'm like, my heart is made differently. My heart is made for Jesus Christ. And I liken it to kind of having a puzzle that is missing one piece. And at that moment, it was like Jesus bent down and in the gutter, he found the puzzle piece. And he put it in my soul and he made the picture complete.
Young women out there, and when they hear people say, that, the love they're looking for in these relationships with men, they could experience in their relationship with Christ, how exactly does that take place?
Well, it's obviously different than an earthly love, so to speak. But Christ comes to speak deep into our souls. He comes to love us deep into our souls. And the fullness of that love will always be found eternally in heaven. But what I'm really looking for in the areas that Christ is trying to come and heal me, where I'm opening up to Christ, I'm opening up my yearning and my ache. Because even married people, if you ask them, the spouse doesn't fulfill them totally. And if you try to make an idol out of your spouse, we know what happens. And so we're looking for this beautiful thing of physical intimacy, which is beautiful. But what we're really looking for is this complete eternal satisfaction. And so when I'm allowing Christ to come into those areas of my life where I'm lonely, where I ache, areas where I want to give myself, areas where I want to be fruitful, like Pope Francis, he told the sisters, your mother is not spinsters. So if I'm allowing Christ to come into those areas, it changes me. Now, like I said, it is a sacrifice. Religious life, you're saying no to something that's very, very beautiful for something eternal, but it is a sacrifice. And you have to acknowledge it and to be very honest about it and allow Christ to come into those areas too. So.
You probably heard the expression a lot. When people are in a relationship, they say to one another sometimes, "You complete me." and it's very romantic. Can you comment on that, please?
Well, that kind of, in a sense, I do believe that Christ does send spouses together. And I mean, I totally believe that. And in a sense, we do complete one another in a family. But the completion, I think, that most people are looking for, it doesn't come from another person, because that only comes from God, the Creator. We complement one another. We do, in a sense, like I said, the halves of the heart are made whole, or the two holes are made even brighter. But the kind of completion that we're looking for, it can't be found in another person. And we're looking for something eternal, and we can't put something finite into that eternal space, so.
There's young people out there, we've both spoken with them, that are thinking about their futures and their vocations, and, there's a lot of hesitation around the vocation to religious life. There's a lot of sacrifice and renunciation, and rightfully so. What would be the one thing that you could say to somebody to help them discern religious life, and maybe even make that first step if they feel called to it?
I would definitely say go and see. First, find a spiritual director, a wise person that can help you. We're not meant to discern by ourselves. And then go and see. Go and see how the sisters live or the priests live. Go visit a seminary. Go visit a religious community and go and see what your heart experiences there. You might be surprised. People go and they're like, they just felt at home there. Because love requires sacrifice, whether you're married and you have children, or you're religious, or you're a celibate layperson. Whatever, love always requires sacrifice, but that sacrifice brings about great fruitfulness and beauty. So I would definitely say, find somebody who can help you on the journey, find a wise spiritual person that can help you, and then go and see. Go and see.
Parents, teachers, chaplains, principals, religious, priests, all kinds of people out there who are interested in the well-being of young people. Do you have any tips to give them along the way, and how to inspire them to really live their faith?
Well, I think one of the ways we do that first and foremost is by living it ourselves. we can't give what we don't have, and it's the authentic witness of somebody's life that inspires us. And that, as professed Christians, if we don't live a life that's on fire, why should anybody else do it? So young people watch us more than we can possibly imagine, and they're looking at us to see how we live our life. So as we allow Christ to encounter us in our areas of darkness and set us free and make our light grow even brighter, then it allows them the freedom to go and do the same. And keep that door open to them. Encourage them to receive the sacraments, to go to things like this, to go visit religious communities. I know a lot of priests and other people, they take young women on pilgrimages to convents, and that have pamphlets available that they can't join something they don't know exists. So the more we make that available, and that it's a normal decision and it's a beautiful thing, that they're more willing to at least go and see and be open to something like that.
Have you seen any concrete activities at the parish level or at the school level that have worked quite well?
I know a lot of times youth groups or schools will consciously invite priests and religious in, and they'll like, come and eat with our kids, just come have lunch with them so they can see you. So a lot of times just the simple witness of that, of having, here's an option. I didn't know that was really an option when I grew up. Here's an option that, Christ might be calling you to this. That they have authentic theology in their schools. They're teaching something that's true and authentic. The truth always challenges us, but it always transforms us and sets us free. So, sometimes you see programs that are unfortunately kind of maybe going in a different direction, but we're teaching the kids truth. John Paul II would always say that it will challenge them, but they'll rise to the occasion. So we can't be afraid to take that risk to speak the truth in love always, and then allow the gospel to do its work.
Well, thank you for not being afraid for doing this interview. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us on vocationculture.ca, and I want to wish you well as you continue in your ministry.
Thank you, yes, and you'll all be in my prayers. Thank you so much.